Hi, Ron Craig here again, sharing with you another unique, handy, and helpful household hint, this time in the dining area. Many years ago, my wife and I had this beautiful oak table made, and with 6 chairs, solid oak, very beautiful, and they weren't cheap. And we've enjoyed them much over the years. Well, after using them and enjoying them for several years, I noticed one day that one of the chair bottoms had a little crack in it, and I knew that I would have to fix that. So I decided how I would do it. I decided on 1/2-inch plywood. I went to the store and I shopped around and got a 4x8 sheet of plywood, just pine plywood, not real expensive stuff, because it's not going to be in plain view. And then I laid it out. I decided to make the strips that I was going to reinforce the chair with 2.5 inches wide, and then the length across the bottom, but not coming all the way out to the edge. You can see that in the video here. So I put a pad on this table so that I could put the chairs up there without scratching the table and doing damage to it. To do this, you'll need a power saw and, of course, an extension cord probably. You'll want to do it in a workshop or outside because of the noise and the dust. But you'll need also a straight edge to lay out your pieces, and a pencil, of course, and then cut the pieces. Now I've put 2 pieces, 2 strips, 2 reinforcing strips on each chair. There's 6 chairs, so those were 12 pieces that I had to lay out and cut. And if you'll also notice, as I show you a drawing here, the way it looks, where you can see the screws, the flat part, but the edge has 2 angles on each end, so that as you turn that upside down on the chair, when people put their hands under there to pull their chair up to the table, they will not run into a sharp edge of the wood. It's angled, so you rarely even feel that wood is under there the way I have it, with the length that I made it. So, after cutting the pieces, and of course sanding them a little bit, smoothing them up just a little bit, then I bored the holes in the pieces, and then laid them up on the chair upside down where I could get to it real easy. And I used 1-inch screws on these. I don't know if you can see it on this chair, but the seat bottom is not a full 3/4 or more, but it's been hollowed out to fit people's bottoms who sit in it. So it's not a full thickness right in the middle. So you want to make sure your screws don't go all the way through and come out up where people sit, because that might be very uncomfortable. So but with these I use 1-inch screws. And if you can see some of them with the light shining on them. I have 2, 4, 6, 8 in each reinforcing strip, and 2 on it. Now, if I had to do it all over again, I'll show you. This was many years ago, and so I've learned a little since then. If I had to do it all over again, I would move this strip down a little bit to that post. You can only move it so far. And I'd move this one toward the front to make room for a middle, and I would put a 3rd strip on there. Plus, I would probably put 2 screws here and here to add to the reinforcing on every slat. And of course I would do that on every chair. That's what I did when I tackled this project. I knew that if one chair cracked, the others might. So I went ahead and cut enough pieces to reinforce all 6 chairs. In your project, if you have a problem like this, you might want to go ahead and do your reinforcement before you find a crack. That will help them to keep from cracking. Now these slats, these reinforcing pieces, will not keep the chair from cracking over a period of time with people sitting down in them hard or whatever. They may crack, but they will keep it from collapsing and possibly ruining your chair and even injuring the people who fall if they do that. So I would suggest that you go ahead and reinforce your chairs now if you're concerned about it, especially if you already find one that's cracked. Now, after this video, since I've found out what I did, I will probably go back and add those 2 extra screws in the slats that I have on here on each of the chairs now. I believe this will help you. If you have a problem like this will help you understand what you have to do. Of course, each job is separate, or it has its own challenges and so forth, and it's unique, it's custom. So you would have to decide what thickness of the boards you want to use. I chose 1/2 inch because they're not too heavy and they're not too bulky. That worked well for us on our chairs. That's what I would suggest, but it's your choice. And I cut these 2.5 inches in each strip, but I would put 3 strips on there that same width, and that would reinforce it even more. Again, this is a unique, handy, and helpful household hint because I looked online a little bit and I never found anything quite like this. What I'm showing you, the project that I took on, and kind of describing it to you and showing you. And here you can see the drawing that I made of the boards, how they were cut and laid out with the angles on each end and the screw holes. And with oak, it's pretty hard wood. So when you put the screws in, you may want to take a small bit and don't go too deep. Make sure you don't go through the chair bottom, but you might want to do a starter hole in the oak so that the screw will get started good, and then it will have a good tight fit. You want the screw to bite into the wood pretty good, but you don't want it to run through the top where people are sitting in it. Again, I believe this is a very unique, handy, and helpful household hint, and I appreciate you viewing it. I appreciate you sharing it with others, and I hope you'll come back and see more unique, handy, and helpful household hints that we'll be videoing and uploading in the future. You have a good day now.